All right, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Trailblazers versus the Phoenix Suns game highlights and review. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. As we see starting the game, Damian Lillard isn't out there. Um, he wasn't out there again tonight. And Anthony Simons was a late scratch. He was out there warming up, and then they decided, we'll just go ahead and, go ahead and sit him for tonight as well. Now, this was, you would think, as we see Shaedon Sharpe, the rookie, starting off with a nice three there on his first bucket. You would think, hey, it's going to be a tough night. The Phoenix Suns, they played them a few nights ago. The Suns are definitely trying to get back to the finals. And as I said, for the review of that game, it was a good test against a team who has aspirations to get to the finals and will be in the playoffs. So that was a good game right there. And now you see we're right back against them this time without Dame, without Anthony Simons. So now we can see how the fellas, how they respond to both their guys being down. Definitely want to see how Jerami Grant plays this game. Like I said before, we've been looking forward to him having that big game. He's been having some solid games now. It's not like he's been absent by any means. But we're looking forward to Jerami Grant having that big impact that we know he's capable of having. And this is a game where he's, primed to do it. Honestly, where he has to do it with the guys out. And as we'll see, he definitely rose to the occasion. This was a very exciting game, especially for the young fellas. Again, gaining confidence. The defense was beautiful. I know it wasn't. What I mean by beautiful is from where it was, knowing the guys have to learn things and change certain habits that they've had and things like that. What they're doing now is much better. That's just one. You'll see that a lot. Again, get out and go. We got some high flyers. We got some finishers. I know Coach Billups wants to get out and run and push it. Beautiful right there. Now that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Oh, but I was saying, on defense, man, the guys are doing a great job, and they did a great job in this game guarding the perimeter. You're playing against Chris Paul and Devin Booker, so you have to guard the perimeter. Bridges, he can knock down. Cam Johnson, he can knock down. You got to guard the perimeter against this team. So they did a good job of that. And they did a good job also with their interior defense. Chauncey does, as we see a follow put back right there by the Phoenix Suns. Coach Billups does a great job of mixing up his defense, trying to keep teams off balance. But honestly, it was another good way to help solve that interior defense issue of guys being able to just dive in and roam in whenever they feel like it. Let's switch it up. Let's get some zone in there, and let's clog up the middle. And we'll keep teams off balance if we switch it up. Instead of, we're not just going to go zone. Once we see the three right there by Jerami Grant, nice shot. We see the fellas in the lead. I didn't check the stats. I should have checked the stats. I wanted to see what Jerami Grant finished as far as his shooting percentage, but I know he shot a pretty high percentage. He took good shots. The team played very well together. Nurkic has been a pillar. Let me just say that right now. Nurkic has been a pillar. He's accepted his role, and he's starring in his role. He's beginning to star in that role. He's a pillar. So shout out to Nurk. As we'll see later on in the game, Nurk hits a huge three that really mattered. Shout out to Nurk. As we see the Portland defense right here. Look how fast they go from defense to offense. You see that? And that was more of a controlled break, but that was beautiful. That's confidence right there. As we see Jerami Grant knock down a beautiful jump shot right there, pull up. Look at Jerami Grant getting loose. You see him? That was beautiful. I don't know who that was guarding him, but he was really worried about him going to the basket. when Jerami Grant is hitting his shots like that, ooh, when Jerami Grant is hitting his shots like that, whew, I mean, you see what happened tonight. So, I mean, obviously he's not going to get all of those shots with Dame and Anthony out there as well. But having the confidence and knowing that he's knocking down his shots, he's the hot hand, he's going to get that ball. Coach is going to make sure that they, move the ball around to the hot hand. I mean, especially when you got a team full of guys who can score like this, you want to make sure, as we see Nurk, oh my goodness, Nurk, put in that work. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Nurk. Nurk's doing a great job knocking down another three. He's been hitting them, so he's going to be allowed to keep doing it. But like I was saying before, man, the team was great ball movement. Everybody shared the ball beautifully, and not that it's never, not been a good team effort for everybody, but they really, really did a good job of moving the ball, keeping Phoenix off balance, not really being able to key on one player. And as you'll see later on, this is the third quarter right now. They'll start to run some doubles towards Jerami Grant. He did a good job of finding, as we see Keon Johnson, he did a good job of finding his teammates. Keon Johnson, I know I mentioned him before and the work he put in over the summer, but like I said, it's just so good to see him out here showcasing his ability, man. Oh my Lord, did Eubanks just do that? Did Eubanks just? Anyway, I told you I like Eubanks. I told y'all, as we see this beautiful Air Jordan Air Shaden, you know what I'm saying? That was definitely a poster. That was a nice shot right there. As we see that beautiful reverse layup by Shaden. I mean, we're gonna have to see that again later on. We see another pull up right there from Nasir Little, who's been steady off the bench. I want to give Nasir his credit. He's been steady off the bench, man. I mean, he hasn't had huge numbers, but he's been steady, man, which is what you need from your bench. You need your bench to come in and keep the ship steady. You don't want it to get out of hand. I mean, if they take off and things go even better, that's fine. But you definitely want the bench to come in and keep things steady. And the bench is getting better and better at that. Not that they've been bad. I mean, look at the record. They've been doing a fine job. But just know that with that being said, that they're getting better and better, and they'll continue to get better as we see Jerami Grant penetrate and find Eubanks with the finish right there. I mean, again, you got Winslow, who's good at handling the ball, finding teammates. You got Dame, who's wonderful at that. He might be underrated. Dame's a great passer. You got Anthony Simons, whose ability to draw and kick is tremendous, as we see Nurk again. Josh Hart can fill the bill when necessary. I mean, you got a team of guys who can make good decisions, is what I'm saying. So a lot of people kind of, they don't take that in consideration when they're gauging certain teams. But when you have a ball club full of guys who can make good decisions, who can score, who can handle the ball, good things can happen. With the right direction, proper motivation, good things can happen. As we saw Nurk keep the team where they need to be. As you see Devin Booker hit that three. Watch, I think this is when we're going to see Nurk. Oh, this is the game-winning shot right here by Jerami Grant. That was a great play. I don't know if people have noticed. I've seen some people have noticed. I've seen some people have noticed. But Coach Billups does a great job of calling plays, keeping the other team off balance, out of timeouts and dead ball situations, things like that. Coach Billups will draw up a nice play. The coaching staff, I don't want to, Coach Brooks, the coaching staff as a whole will draw up a great play, man, and the team comes out and executes it, The team comes out and executes it. So much respect to them. I mean, that was without Dame, without Ant. Jerami stepped up. Nurk, again, like I said, Nurk's been a pillar. Shaden will continue to get better. He started off nice. Shaden will continue to get better and better as he contributed as well. Nasir did a good job off the bench, as I said before. Josh Hart, kind of light game, but you can't underestimate what he brings defensively and what he brings as far as his veteran leadership and what he sees and what he relays to the guys out there on the court and on the bench. I mean, the team is really some great pieces, as you saw them come together at the end, celebrating with Jerami Grant. Dame being a big part of the team, even while on the bench, even while not, on the court, he's still an intricate part of the ball club, which you should be, but some guys kind of check out, when they're not involved. Obviously, the guys are really coming together. They love playing together. Looks like they genuinely like each other. So this is going to be an enjoyable ride. And I wanted to point out last thing before we get out of here that, in my opinion, the squad, the Trailblazers, we're playing for next season. I know, we're playing this season right now, but we're playing for next season. This is a reload, a restock. Not necessarily a rebuild. I'm trying to stay away from that word, but it's definitely a restock. And it also shows, even if they would have went to the rebuild, they would have been all right. You know what I'm saying? As far as the positive look on building, they would have been feeling good. They'd have been building something good, they would have competed in all these games. Obviously the record probably may not be the same. It may be the same, the team is just playing that good together. You know what I'm saying? Learning, cutting down on the turnovers, listening to each other, taking lead from their head coach, who's one of the best to ever do it at his position. Finals MVP, don't forget that, So, shout out to the Trailblazers. That was a great team win. Coach Billups, Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year. I mean, show me somebody out there who's coaching better as far as, what the expectations were for their team and what they're putting out there, on the court, what the results are. The expectations might have been not that high for this team, but the results are really nice, So obviously they're putting in the work. Obviously they're catching some teams off guard, but I can see that some teams are also doing some scouting and they're looking at some of the things that this team is doing well, and i.e. the Miami Heat, and they're trying to take away some of those things. This was the second time the Suns saw this team, so you would think they'd be a little better prepared. Maybe they kind of, felt they had it in the bag since Dame and Ant wasn't in the lineup, but you got to go out there and play the game, and you got to make those adjustments when necessary, and they weren't able to make them. Nurk is getting stronger and stronger as far as his confidence and understanding where to be, how to be there, and what to do in his role. I can't stress enough how impressed I am with what Nurkic is doing in his role and how he's starring in his role and how all the guys are figuring out how to star in their roles. Great work to the coaching staff. Keep it up. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right.